Hi, Greg. This is Robert Perlman with CollectSpace.com. When we last spoke about your mission, it was before it was delayed, and you said you were ready to go then. Most of the changes to the mission since then have sort of impacted the spacewalk schedule. So how has your personal training been altered, if at all?
You know, it's a great question, and I thought one of my crewmates told me, I said, well, do you think we're ready? And this is prior to October '08. He says, Ray J, we've got this thing suitcased, and I had to agree with him at the time. Our training has kind of been refresher training. Certainly we've learned a few new things. We've added the repair of the command data handler has been added onto the mission. But in many respects, we've gone over again all our procedures, refined some of them, but in general, well, we're certainly very ready to go.
Great. Well, one of your tasks during the mission will be to oversee the IMAX shots. And has there been any changes to that timeline? Have IMAX requested anything specific regarding the replacement of the control unit?
No, that's really difficult to see, so probably there won't be much of that. We will shoot some high definition out the back windows. The IMAX shots are pretty well choreographed. For actually a fair amount of pressure because it's only 8 minutes of tape at 30 seconds a shot. So if you waste 30 seconds, you certainly wasted some important tape. So I'll be concurring with the commander. I'll be picking the shot and then concurring with the settings, and then we'll run the IMAX at the proper times.
Is there a scene planned that stars yourself, or how do you want to appear in the film?
Well, I don't necessarily need to be in the film, but there are sort of high-definition camera shots that we'll do inside, not with the IMAX camera on the in the payload bay, but we'll actually have a high-definition camera inside, and it'll have the standard commander and pilot piloting the vehicle and the rendezvous, for example. So I'll certainly probably participate in some eating or some crew activities in pre-sleep, for example.
Okay, stepping back a little bit. We know the role of a pilot for ascent and descent because it doesn't really change much per mission. But can you describe what you'll be doing during for example, during the spacewalks and during the day-to-day on orbit? Yeah,
day-to-day on orbit, my main job is to take care of the orbiter itself. So it's fuel cells, any of the systems. If we have any malfunctions on the systems, I'm the person trained to in-flight repair the orbiter with the spare boxes a few spare boxes that we have. I also am the crew medical officer, so if we have any medical issues, I will be involved in that. And we have a medical checklist, and I did some medical training. And then also I photo document the Hubble Space Telescope itself, all sides of the Space Telescope, as well as photo document the spacewalkers going in and out.
Given the schedule of your flight, if you do take off on May 12th, you'll be in space during the 40th anniversary of Apollo 10. I believe you were 15 at the time of that lunar landing dress rehearsal mission. Can you share what you remember of it?
I remember the actual landing itself. I was pretty excited, and I remember at the end of that landing, the next night I went out and looked at the moon and was just marveled at the thought that we had done that. I just thought that was awesome.
And I know that your mission's very busy, but do you have any plans to mark that anniversary while in space?
You know, we probably should. I haven't gotten any plans yet, but that's a good reminder.
Okay. I went to Florida this past weekend to see Endeavour and Atlantis standing side by side on two pads. It was described as the last of the shuttle program, and yours is the last servicing mission to Hubble. Is there a bittersweet sense about making your first flight as the shuttle program comes to an end?
I certainly would like to have flown it again. If we had gone in October, we'd have maybe a better chance to turn around more quickly for the end flights. But this is an extremely large payoff for the science community, so I'm certainly glad to be on a Hubble mission. Seeing two space shuttles on the pad is very unusual. I've seen that in the past. Yeah, it'll be bittersweet to see the end of the shuttle program for sure.
as you're in charge of the TV and photo, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but it's less clear how many tweets that would be. As of today, your crewmate, Mike Massimino, better known now, I guess, as Astro Mike, has over 100,000 people following him on Twitter. Has that given you the desire to tweet yourself, and what do you think of the reception that he's received on behalf of you all?
Well, I think he's a great representative for the crew to be tweeting like that. I haven't tried the tweeting thing myself. Actually, I'm still involved in looking at our procedures, but I think it's a great way to get to reach out to the public. And Mass is a personal, very good representative for us.
Right. It wasn't originally scheduled to coincide, but the patch that you led to create for your crew has a connection to Star Trek, given its artist, Mike Akuda. And you will be in space when a new Star Trek film debuts back in theaters, in theaters back on Earth. Can you share a little bit what drove you to choose Mike Akuda? And do you see parallels between your mission and the vision put forth in Star Trek?
I think that's a great... well, I was in charge of the patch. I'm also the social director on the cruise, so I'm in charge of the parties. But John Grunsfeld and I conferred on the patch, and we came out with some designs, and it's kind of interesting, the whole patch design, how it migrates into what you end up as a final patch. But Akuda had talked to John and proposed this idea, and I looked at it and I said, this is a completely different patch than we've seen in some shuttle missions, and so it's more Hubble-centric, meaning it's focused on the Hubble, not on the space shuttle itself, for example. And I just think it's a wonderful patch. Mike did a great job, and we certainly refined it slightly, and now we have a patch I think we can be proud of.
And with regards to the Star Trek connection, do you see a parallel between your mission and the Star Trek series?
Well, I think, Star Trek really brought to kids and myself, having seen many of them and also seen some of the follow-on movies, just a sense of discovery. I think Hubble is going to make some wonderful discoveries. I think like 2 years ago, out of 100 discoveries made at NASA, over 80 of them were done by the Hubble Space Telescope. So I'm looking forward to the discoveries of Hubble, and that's the parallel, I think, with Star Trek.
This week marks the 19th birthday of Hubble, and I believe your 19th year with NASA. Does this last servicing mission feel more like an end of a journey or just the beginning?
Now, it's interesting because Hubble was launched the day I joined NASA as a research pilot, so I thought that was kind of an interesting coincidence. But I think we have put a soft capture mechanism on the bottom of Hubble, so it could be rendezvoused with another vehicle, for example. I think we are certainly going to get 5 more years of discoveries out of Hubble, and that is just going to be wonderful. I don't necessarily think it's the end of Hubble. It can stay up there till way past 2020 with no propulsion system. So if the systems work, it probably should still be in orbit.
So you would hope for NASA to send a future robotic mission or even maybe an Orion crew there?
I would think that would be also a payoff.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Endeavour before, and as a result of the delay to your flight, the STS-400 crew was changed out from the STS-123 flight deck crew to STS-126. Were there any challenges with that handover? And how can you sort of describe the training process for that contingency flight?
It remained kind of the same process. They trained 123 crew with the 126, so the training kind of stayed the same. We had some changes of the Capcoms for both flights, so that's been a challenge to work through another set of Capcoms who understand the Hubble system. The training is very specific for the 400 crew. The goal is to get airborne and make it to main engine cutoff, so they are highly motivated to do that, and of course the chance of using an STS-400 is very small, but it's comforting to know they're there.
And I think I'm running out of time here, but my last question, I guess, would be, the last couple of crews have sent down video diaries of their activities. Are you planning on doing a daily crew-narrated highlight reel? We are.
We're going to take some video, crew shots, we think, 3-4 minutes of video on orbit of some of the major activities for that day. And then as we downlink it, we will have different crew members talk about what went on that day.
Well, thank you.
Okay.